First of all, I would like to ask you, what will be the main changes in the World Bank after this crisis?
Yeah, well, I think the main change is that the World Bank need to triple its effort to help the poor countries. And because of the reduction in the capital flow, in the trade revenues, in the remittance. That means that many developing countries, if they want to maintain the growth rate, they need to have extra resources to cope with the possible need for investment or even the possible danger of the balance of payment crisis. And so the World Bank will increase its IBRD loan to the developing country, will upfront its IDA grant to the poorest country, and also to mobilize the private capital through our international financial cooperation to help with the developing countries.
Many people have seen China as some kind of solution to the financial crisis, as mentioned earlier, that they trust in China to go on the floor to find a solution on it. And China is deeply involved into Africa, Latin America at the moment. In your opinion, as a Chinese, as a chief economist, do China have the muscle to do this at the moment?
Well, I think for China, the most important thing is to maintain dynamic growth in China, because China has the potential to maintain relatively high growth compared to other countries. However, to maintain that require the government effort, require financial resources, and also I think the most important job for China is to maintain this dynamic growth.
Do you think China will turn more inward than before?
Not inward. In the sense that in the past China export a lot. Now export market reduced. So China need to increase domestic consumption. But if China can increase domestic consumption, domestic demand, it will create a market for the world. Because to make investment, increase the demand, China requires resources. China requires equipment from the high-income country, and so on. So it's not a cross-the-door protectionism, but as a reorientation of the direction for the growth.
Your background is quite exciting, as mentioned. Your background from Beijing University and from the Friedman Institute, yeah. What is your? Do you have a kind of ideologic in the ground? How is that? How is your thoughts compared to the more mainstream World Bank views? Is there a clash between your thoughts and the mainstream World Bank view?
Well, I think that it's not necessarily conflicts. I think it's a complementarities. I'm training in Chicago. It's very mainstream. I've been working in China for about 25 years, and so I understand how the policies can be effective. I understand pragmatism, to understand the constraint, to identify the opportunities would be important. And so my experiences in China will be a very good complementarity to the experiences of my colleagues.
But one more question about Kalamone emphasizes governance, good governance, as an important thing. But your view is that most of the leaders want to do good for the people. The empirical evidence for this, if you look to certain countries in Africa, for example, where do you find them?
Well, certainly you see that because when I say the political leaders, they have the incentive to do good things for the countries, it's also rational. Because if they do good things for the country, they will be more secure in their position. They can have higher status in history. And I think for political leaders, these two things are the most important things. And so it's rational for them. But as you mentioned, certainly they face many kind of constraints. First is knowledge. What kind of intervention, what kind of policy will be really helpful? We do not have a consensus about that among the economists, and so it's hard for the government leaders to really understand what would be helpful. And secondly, certainly, they also need to face all kinds of challenges from different sectors in their economy. And so they need to identify what is constrained and what is possible. But I think as us as researchers, as long as we can help them to identify those things, knowledges, opportunity, and constraints, I think the government officials, the political leaders, will have the incentive to follow that kind of policies. I've been to African countries, and I'm encouraged to see many government top leaders. They are, in the situation as I described, they are searching for solutions in order to make a contribution. And it's not necessarily just for, idealism. It's also pragmatic for them.